Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University.
Hello friends, welcome to Chaitanya Studio BBA video lecture series of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University. In the sequence of video series, today I will teach you Unit 2 of Block 2 from Principles of Management subject. The second unit of this block is about organizing and about organizing structure or organization structure we can say. The learning objectives of this unit are to understand the meaning, characteristics and process of organizing, to study the importance of organizing, to understand different principles of organizing, to gain insight into different types of organizing structure or organization structure. Let's begin with the first topic of this unit, which is about the meaning and definition of organizing. The literal meaning of organizing is to arrange everything in a systematic order. If we look organizing process in context to organization, it is a process of integrating, coordinating and mobilizing the activities of the employee for seeking common goals of the organization. It is the relationship among the people, work and resources used to achieving common objectives of organization. If we look upon the definition of organizing, we find that it is defined by in different way by various thinkers. According to Lewis Allen, organizing is the process of integrating, process of identifying and grouping work to be performed, defining and delegating responsibility and authority and establishing relationship for the purpose of enabling people to work most effectively together in order to accomplishing organizational objectives. In the words of Allen, organizing is an instrument for achieving organizational goals. The work of each and every person is defined and authority and responsibility is fixed for accomplishing the same task. Another thinker, Kuntz and O'Donnell, defined organizing in their own way. They defined that organizing involves the establishment of an internal structure of roles by identifying and listing the activities, grouping and assessment of activities to manager and the delegation of authority to carry out coordination of authority relationship horizontally and vertically in the organization structure. Thus, it is evident from all these definitions that organizing is a process which involves many stages like defining roles, defining activities, grouping those activities, established authority and responsibility relationship and its coordination, etc. When these tasks and activities are completed, a formal structure comes into the existence known as organizational structure. So, this was all about the process and meaning of the organizing. Now, just move to the next topic of this unit, which will discuss the characteristics of organizing. The first characteristic of organizing is it is a goal oriented process. This means everything in this organizing process will be done to achieve organizational objectives. For example, the organizational structure should build around common and clear-cut objectives which will help in their proper accomplishment of the task and it will facilitate the working of the organization. The second characteristic is it primarily deals with group efforts, that is coordination. To achieve goals of the organization, coordination is required. But how it facilitates coordination? The answer is, in organizing process, similar kind of activities divided separately in a group to achieve organizational goals. And when they are actually performed in a system, it requires group efforts. Group efforts help in integrating and harmonizing various activities and also avoids duplication and delays. Unless all efforts properly coordinated, the performance of all groups is adversely affected. Thus, a proper coordination of various activities is as essential as their division. In fact, various function in any organization depends upon one another, and the performance of one function influences the another function. For example, financial department activities affect marketing department activities. In similar manner, there are various examples in organizational context. Now we will move to next characteristics, that is the third one. Organizing is based on the principle of division of work and specialization. In organizing process, the work of the enterprise is divided into activities and the functions. Various activities are assigned to different persons for efficient accomplishment. This brings division of labor in the organization. Although one person can carry many functions, but specialization in different activities is necessary to improve one's efficiency or organization's efficiency. Organizing helps in dividing the work into related activities so that they are assigned to different specialized individuals. The next characteristic of organizing is it involves the process of differentiation and division of activities and integration of activities. Differentiation is achieved through division of activities and integration can be achieved by grouping similar kind of activities. The next characteristic in the sequence is it establishes authority relationship of superior by assigning activities and delegating adequate authority to them. The next characteristics in the sequence that it divides activities into jobs and tasks by grouping them and then assigning them to various departments or to various individuals. This was all about the characteristic of organizing, in which we studied how it was all about the characteristic of the organizing. In this we studied the process, grouping similar kind of activities. We also studied how it values principles of division of work and how it defines various activities and tasks and develop authority and responsibility relationship. Now let us begin with the further topic, that is process of organizing. As we discussed in definition of organizing, that it involves assigning tasks, grouping tasks into departments, delegating authority and allocating resources across the organization. During the organizing process, managers coordinate employees, coordinate with the resources, policies and procedures to facilitate the goals identified at the time of planning process. The first step is identification of activities. In this step, the manager identifies those activities which are necessary for achieving common goals. The common goals of organization provide the basis for determining and identifying these activities or some kind of various activities. In the second step of division of activities is done. the activities have been identified, they are divided and subdivided into jobs and small tasks known as elements of activities. Further, in the third step, grouping of activities is done, in which similar kind of tasks or closely related tasks are grouped together. And later on in the fourth step, these classified activities are combined into groups, which later on form specific departments. Next to this, in the fifth stage, these departments are given authority, which means employees who is heading this department is given authority. Further, at the last stage, attempts are made to coordinate each small element or task with departmental activities. When functioning of each department is coordinated, it leads to achieve common goals stated at this stage of planning. After completing our all the above mentioned stages of organizing, it results in creation of a structure known as organization structure. Thus, organizing process is done in a systematic manner as per objective of the company. Now, let us talk about the importance of organizing. A comprehensive approach to organizing helps the management in many ways. Organizing aligns the various resources towards a common mission, thus keeps great importance. The first importance in organizing process that it leads to efficient administration. This point can be understood by the fact that in organizing, a proper coordination among different departments is established, which results in unification of efforts and harmony in the work. In addition, organizing brings a mechanism to direct and control the various activities in the enterprise by defining activities and their authority relationship. Thus, it leads to effective administration. Next, it leads to resource optimization. Organizing ensures effective role job fit for every employee in the organization. It helps in avoiding confusion and delays as well as omits duplication of work and overlapping of efforts. This ultimately leads to resource optimization. The next importance in the sequence of organizing is benefits of specialization, that is maximum work in minimum time. In the process of organizing, groups, activities and jobs divided in a logical manner, which leads to many benefits like completion of maximum work in minimum time. It also ensures the benefit of specialization. That's why it is said resource optimization. Next importance is it promotes effective communication. Organizing is an important means of coordination and communication among various departments of organization. Different jobs and positions are interrelated by structural relationship. Thus, organizing specifies the channel and mode of communication among different members. The next point in importance is organizing activity also create transparency, which states that organizing process detailed out the activities to be done in the form of job description, that is what is the job exactly. It fixes the authority responsibility relationship among employees, which ultimately brings clarity and transparency in the organization. Last but not the least, organizing helps in expansion and growth, which is about the capability to meet challenges easily and expanding activities in a planned manner which is the outcome of proper utilization of resources and the outcome of proper division of work among the departments and among the employees. Now understand various principles of organizing which is required to make any organization structure very efficient. Principles serve as a general guidelines for manager for getting more effective pattern of relationship in the organization. Most of these principles have classical management thought flavor, which we have already studied in block 1. Some of organizing principles are same as given by scientific management thinkers like F.W. Taylor, Henry Fayol, Ulrich, etc. With the passage of time, these principles have been refined and extended by many modern management scientists to make them more relevant in modern context. I have explained some of principles in detail earlier too. The organizing principles are as follows. Just one by one, we will have a glance on these principles. The first principle is the principle of division of labor, which is basically the principle of organizing which represent division of work and activities into small tasks and jobs necessary for achieving a set of objectives. This I have explained earlier too in the Fayol's principles. Another principle is the principle of functional, definition of which states that the function is to be performed by an individual employee or by a department must be well defined. Like it should be clearly stated what is to be done, who will do it, how it will be done in advance. The next principle is the principle of scalar chain, which is one among the Fayol's principle. It states that there exists an unbroken line of authority or scalar chain in the form of top to the lowest level. Now come to the next principle, which is principle of span of control. This principle refers to the number of subordinates to be placed under the command of one manager and in optimal manner, so that that manager can manage his work very efficiently. If there is a larger span of control, then more number of subordinates will be there and it will be difficult to manage their work efficiently and effectively. The next principle in the sequence is principle of unity of command. This principle of unity of command implies oneness of command and single source of authority over the subordinates, which explain one superior, one subordinate relationship principle. Next principle is principles of objective, which states all activities and department should be directed towards accomplishment of predetermined goals. The next principle is principle of balance, which explains that there must be a balance to ensure the overall effectiveness of the structure in meeting enterprise objectives. Like there should be a reasonable balance in the size of various departments, balance between standardization and procedures and flexibility, balance between the centralization and decentralization. Similarly, there should be balance between the principles of span of control and the short chain of command. In the chain of command, if it is shortened, the span of control will be increasing and vice versa happens. Now, let us focus on the next principle, the principle of flexibility. This principle suggests that the structure of organization should be designed in order to permit growth and diversification. That is, it should be flexible enough. The more that provision are made for building flexibility into an organization structure, the more adequately an organization structure can fulfill its purpose. The techniques for anticipating and reacting to change must be built in every structure of organization. Inflexibilities in the organization may be due to various reasons like resistance to change, or due to complicated procedures, or maybe due to too firm departmental lines, or maybe due to the unable meet challenges of economic, technical, biological, political and social changes. Now move to next principle, that is principle of absoluteness of responsibility. According to this principle of responsibility, once assumed by the manager cannot be shifted to subordinate. This principle defines that if once it is fixed, it will be shouldered by that manager of the department only. It cannot be shouldered to another person. Although person may be changed, but it will be done by the person who is designated to that position. Another principle is the principle of delegation by result expected. It clarifies the performance expectation to the manager in terms of volume, time, cost and effort. Any employee should know what is expected to them in terms of cost, efforts, time, volume when delegating the responsibility to them. The next principle is the principle of parity of authority and responsibility. In this principle, there should be complete balance of authority and responsibility. Only that much authority should be delegated which is needed for carrying out the assigned job, and simultaneously that person is responsible for that job at the end of the day. Further, move to the next principle, which is the principle of efficiency. According to this principle, the organizational structure should be designed in such a way that it facilitates efficient accomplishment of objectives with the lowest possible money cost as well as human cost. An efficient organization structure operates without wasting its scarce resources. It permits maximum use of its human resources and talent. Now look on to next principle, the principle of continuity. This principle of continuity states that while designing the structure of organization, a due care should be taken to maintain continuity. And how it should be maintained? It should be maintained in respect of its existence and with respect to its functioning. The organization structure should be serviceable for a long time. This is possible only if this structure is dynamic and capable of adapting itself to the changing needs of environment. Last principle of organizing is the principle of cooperation. According to this principle, an organization is considered as a teamwork aimed at achieving objectives. Therefore, all members should perform the assigned work in cooperative manner with each other. To sum up this topic, we have studied just now various principles of organizing. Some of them are similar to Fayol's 14 principles of management, which I have elaborated in block 1 unit 2 in detail. Some of the principles like principles of balance, principles of efficiency, principle of delegation by result expected, principle of cooperation are bit different, which I explained in detail just now. Now, let's begin another topic of this unit, that is organization chart. Organization chart basically is a diagram that display a reporting or a relationship hierarchy. The most frequent application of organization chart is to show the structure of business or of an organization. An organizational chart of a company usually show the relationship of a manager with his co-workers or subordinates. It also shows the relationship between directors, managing directors, chief executive officers and among various departments. The size of organization chart may be large and may be complicated if the firm is large. Various shapes such as rectangles, squares, triangles and circles can be used to indicate different roles in the organization. In addition, various colors can also be used for connection lines to indicate differences in authority and responsibility and formal and advisory nature of the job. A department or a position yet to be created, currently vacant, might be shown as a shape with the dotted outlines in any organizational chart. Importance of the position may be shown both within change in the size and the shape. In addition to this, the vertical placement of a chart is done. Now, let us study various kinds of chart in detail. First, we will begin with the vertical charts. Vertical charts take the shape of pyramid with fewer managerial position on higher side and more position at the lower side. This is the conservative way of preparing organizational charts. It indicates the position of chief executive on the top to which succeeding managerial positions are attached. This chart shows that as the chain of command of action goes down at every stage, the content of authority tends to decrease slowly and gradually. The next type of chart is horizontal chart. There is slightly distinction between horizontal chart and vertical charts. In this horizontal charts, the pyramid line remains horizontal in the position in place of the vertical position. Second, the line of authority begins from left to right in the horizontal chart. The position of chief executive lines on acute left side, and as it moves on to the right side, it represents lower level of managerial chain of command. Since horizontal chart do not serve any extra purpose except complicating the diagram, they are less commonly practiced in present scenario. Now, let us move to third category of chart, organizational chart, that is circular chart. It is also termed as concentric charts, which indicate top management position at the center and lower managerial position revolves from center in concentric circles. The lowest managerial position lie on the outermost circle. The circular charts plainly shows scope of each manager's responsibility and authority and remove status implications which are inbuilt from top to lower level. It takes less space for presenting different managerial positions, but it has some weaknesses, like it is very difficult to draw it, and second, it officially creates a lot of confusion regarding managerial positions. The advantages of organizational chart is that it shows relationship among organization staff members and helps in locating unrelated persons who have no direct relationship. It also brings clarity inside an organization. However, it has certain limitations too, like organization charts generally cannot keep track of changes happen in the organization in frequent manner. Whatever happens, it cannot keep track of that thing, and organization chart do not show every communication channel. Thus, this was all about the organizational chart. Now, let us move to next topic of this unit of organization structure, that is types of organization structure. And first, I will make you understand what exactly organization structure are. In earlier chapter in organization chart, we studied various types of the chart, but sometimes student confuse between the organization chart and organization structure. Some student thinks that they are the same meaning and they have same functions, but actually organization structure refers to primary reporting relationship that exist within organization. This is where authority, responsibility and accountability are established. While an organization chart is a graphic representation of the organization structure. Thus, students should never confuse between these two terms. Now, let me define the definition of organization structure. It defines patterns of formal relationship between superior and subordinates. It may also be regarded as network of roles, network of relationship, assigned work and delegated authority to employees. Empirically, organization structure provides the basis on which managers and non-managerial employees perform the job assigned to them. A poor organizational design and structure result in confusion within roles, a lack of coordination among the functions and failure to share ideas and cause slow decision making in the organization that brings unnecessary complexity, stress and conflicts to the managers. Let's understand various types of organization structure in detail. There are broadly various kinds of organization structure. I have defined 7 types of organization structure here, and each of these emphasize on different arrangement of organizational activities, and these activities are designed on mechanistic pattern. For example, in the case of line and staff kind of structure. Some are based on the organic or dynamic pattern. Example for these kind of structure is matrix structure and free form structure. And sometimes few organization structure have a combination of both mechanistic and organic patterns in varying degree. Some of the structures are example of basic structure, functional and divisional structure. The basic organization structure. Now, let me discuss various kinds of framework for all types of organization structure one by one. First, I will take line organization structure, which is very basic type of organization structure. It is the simplest framework for the whole administrative organization. This type of organization, also termed as departmental or military type of organization. In line organization, authorities flow from top to bottom, that is vertical flow of relationship. Each departmental head has sole control over the section, and that manager has full authority to select his labor, staff and purchase of raw material, store maintenance, and he also sets some standards for output. It is also known as the chain of command or scalar principle, which this kind of organization follows. There are some merits of this organization. It is very simple, it able to maintain discipline in the organization, and there is prompt decision making in this kind of organization. It leads to easy supervision and control and leads to very economic nature in the organization. In absence of specialization, there is sometimes there is problem of coordination in line type of organization structure. Now, let us understand the different type of organization, that is line and staff organization structure. Now, let us have a look on line and organization structure. These kind of organization structure mostly find in large organization. These organizations have direct vertical relationship between different levels and also have specialist responsible for advising and assisting line managers. In this structure, we will find that there are various kind of authority. First is line authority and next is staff authority. And next feature of this type of organization is the power of command in this type of structure always remain with the line executive, and the staff members are only supervisory in nature. They can only guide, advise and counsel the line executive. The staff position or staff departments are purely advisory in nature in such type of organization. Staff members have right to recommend but have no authority to enforce the preference over other departments. For example, the staff authority in the organization, sometimes it can be a personal secretary to the managing director, or it could be the economic and legal advisor too. The benefit of these organization is it offers highly specialized and expertise services to line managers, so that there could be sound decision in the organization and line managers can remain much relaxed. The disadvantages of this kind of organization is there are some conflicts between line and staff members on some petty issues, like line authority do not like any interference in their work by staff members, while staff authority claims that their ideas are not listened. And though they also say they don't have authority to implement these ideas even when they are correct. So, till now we have understood line structure, and next we understood the line and staff structure. Now, we will have a glance on next variety of organization structure, that is functional structure. In functional structure, people are grouped based on area of specialization. Some characteristics of this kind of structure are specialization by functions. In this pyramidal growth of line organization, the characteristic of this organization are some line and staff division, functional authority relationship among various departments, limited span of management, tall structure. The advantages of functional structure is the role and responsibilities of employees generally are fixed, which facilitates easy accountability of the work. They feel secure and have sense of job security. Thus, employees tend to be loyal to the organization. On the other side, the disadvantages are employees may feel bored due to the monotonous kind of job. They do repetitive work and may lose enthusiasm. In addition to this structure causes slow decision making, because the problem requiring to solve a problem has to go various departments, and all of them have to say something about the problem. So, it requires a lot of time and it takes much time for decision making. Moreover, this structure responsibility for performance cannot be fixed in functional structure, because no one here is the responsibility for product cost and profitability. There are some interdepartmental conflicts also remain. Now, move to next type of organizational structure. Now, we will discuss various types of organization structure, that is line and staff, functional, division, project, matrix and free form of organization structure. Some of these organization structure having mechanistic pattern, for example, line and staff structure. Some of them are basic structure, or some of them are organic and dynamic pattern. Among basic structure, functional and division type of structure can be called as basic structure, and next for basic and dynamic pattern, matrix and free form structure falls under the category of organic and dynamic pattern. Some of them are combination of both mechanistic and organic pattern of varying degree. The basic organization structure. Organization sometimes may create committees taking personals from different departments, where the processes are quite different as compared to a department. Means committees are something different than department. Now let me discuss all these frameworks of various kinds of organization structure one by one. The first organization structure is line organization. It is simplest framework for the whole administrative organization. This type of organization is also known as military type of organization. In line organization, authority flows from top to bottom. That is flow of vertical flow of command, vertical flow of relationship. Each departmental head has sole control over his section and has full authority to select his labor, his staff members, and has authority to purchase raw material, also about the maintenance of storage, etc. It is also known as chain of command and principles. The vertical flow of command is also called as chain of command. There are some merits of this line structure, like it is very simple in nature, it helps to maintain discipline in the organization, it facilitates prompt decision making and cause to easy supervision and control. It is also very economical in nature. There are some demerits of line organization, like it lacks specialization, there is absence of conceptual thinking, it is very autocratic in nature, and there is most of the time problem in the coordination. Now let us understand another type of organization structure, that is line and staff organization structure. This is the modification of our line organization structure which we studied earlier. It is more complex than line structure. Mostly large organization belong to this type of organizational structure. These organizations have direct vertical relationship between different levels, but they also have some specialists. They are advisory in nature. They assist line manager. In this structure, there are two type of authority structure, which is one is the line authority structure and next is staff authority structure. Line structure is the power of command, and most of the decisions remain in the hand of line executive, while the staff authority are only supervisory in nature. They guide, advise and counsel the line executives. The staff position or staff department are purely advisory in nature. Staff members have the right to recommend but have no authority to enforce their preference on other department. The example of staff authority in organization is like a personal secretary to managing director or economist or legal advisor in the organization. The benefit of this kind of organization is that it offers highly specialized and expertise services to line manager so that they can take sound decisions and can be relaxed. The disadvantages of this kind of organization is there are some conflicts between line and staff members on pretty issues, like line authority do not like any kind of interference of staff authority, while staff authority claims that their ideas are not listened at all and they do not have authority to implement their ideas even when these ideas are correct. So, till now we have understood line structure and line and staff structure kind of organization. Now let's have a look on functional kind of organization structure, which is something different from the line and staff organization. We can see that in such kind of organization, people are grouped based on their area of specialization, like in this engineering, manufacturing, marketing and finance is given. This is called specialization by function. And in such kind of structure, pyramidal growth of organization is there. There are the characteristic of this kind of organization is there are functional authority relationship among various departments. There is limited span of management, and these are tall in nature. There are staff and line manager relationship also prevails. There are some benefits that line manager is responsible for the main work and responsibilities are fixed to line managers only. The manager feels secure in these kind of organization because all the work and tasks are well defined. The disadvantages of this kind of organization is employees may feel bored due to monotonous repetitive type of work and may lose enthusiasm at the end. This kind of a structure cause slow decision making because the problem requiring a decision has to go various departments and all of them has something to say for the problems. Moreover, in this kind of a structure, responsibility of performance ultimately lies in the hand of functional manager. But no one can be said as the responsible for the product cost and profits. And lastly, this structure may cause interdepartmental conflicts which can be detrimental to the organizational efficiency. Now, have a look on the next type of organizational structure, that is divisional kind of structure. In this kind of structure, activities are revolves around a market, activities revolve around the product or around the specific group of consumers. Each division enjoys some degree of autonomy in themselves and each division has their own functions. Like functions could be the operations, marketing, HR, etc. These departments focus on particular market or focus on either particular product lines. Division structure is similar to dividing an organization into several smaller organizations. But it is something different with the main organization function, that each smaller organization is not completely independent. It is headed by some board of directors. There are two kind of divisional structure. One is product and next is territory based. Let's understand different types of divisional structure. In product divisional organization, product line is organized as a separate unit and each unit has its own function structure for various activities necessary for further functioning of that product. That product is sold well in the market, and sometimes this kind of structure generally used in multi product organization. Like the example of such organization is Reliance, which generally deals in textile, polyester, fiber and polymers, chemicals, oil and gases, etc. Such kind of a product require different types of efforts as compared to other products in terms of marketing and production, because product of this kind of structure is very complex in nature. Another example of this kind is Century Mill, which is having its own different kind of product ranges. So generally this kind of particular structure suits to those organization which is having very broad category of products in their range, as I have given the example of Reliance Industry dealing with the textile, polyester, fiber, intermediaries, polymers, chemicals, oil and gases. Now let's understand the second category of territorial divisional organization, in which location of regional offices is standalone units. In this, division are created based on the location of regional offices, and this kind of organization is suitable whose activities are geographically spread. It is geographically scattered, such as in case of banking kind of organization, transport kind of organization, insurance organization. Example of companies having this kind of a structure is Life Insurance Corporation of India, which runs its life insurance businesses on the basis of territorial division organization, in which the entire geographical area of country has been divided into 5 zones: eastern, central, northern, southern and western. Each zone has further been divided into appropriate number of divisions, like North Zone into 4 divisions located at Jalandhar, Chandigarh, New Delhi, Ajmer, etc. And there are some disadvantages and problems remain with these some divisional structure. It is like this: divisional structure is quite costly because all the facilities have to be arranged for each division, and there is lack of emphasis of functional specialization. Moreover, when any new division is opened, there is lack of efficient managerial personnel. Managers working within a division cannot work with same efficiency for another division, as they need to have technical competencies for the upcoming division. However, these shortcomings can be overcome by sharp focus on tasks and responsibilities of corporate and divisional management. Now, let's move to next slide and understand another type of organization, that is project organization. Project type of organization structure, there are some team of specialists and workers who are drawn from various functional areas. Out of the these functional areas are the permanent functional structure of the organization. To work on a project, some candidates are taken from the functional department. These groups are termed as project structure, which act as a separate division within a permanent functional structure. These workers and specialists are headed by a project manager who is responsible to complete a project on timelines. There are some mandatory conditions for this type of a structure, like this type of a structure exists if a project is technical in nature or project requires utmost precision and accuracy. The example of these kind of structure are shipbuilding projects, designing and launching of satellites, aircraft manufacturing, etc. It is to be noted that many a times confusion arises before a student that aren't project and divisional structure same? But the answer is no. Project organization appears like divisional structure, but there is mere difference between these two. In division organization, divisions are created on permanent basis, while in project they are created only for short period of time, which is equivalent to timeline of a project. There are some disadvantages of this structure, like there is lack of clarity among members about their roles in the organization, and people are generally remain confused and not able to identify themselves with a particular department, and they remain whether we should listen to functional manager or we should listen to project manager, and they do not have permanent tenure with any project. That is why it is disadvantages of this kind of structure. And also in this kind of structure, project manager has to face many kind of problems as he carries responsibilities without authority. Now, let's have a look upon next type of organization, that is matrix organization structure. Matrix organization structure is bit permanent kind of structure than project type of structure, in which reporting relationship are set up as a grid or as a matrix rather than in traditional way of hierarchy. If we study precisely, we find that matrix organization is a combination of the project and the functional structure. The authority of the functional manager flows vertically downwards, and the influence of the project manager flows sidewise. Since these authorities flow downwards and sideways, this structure is called matrix organization structure. In another word, here employees have dual responsibility relationship generally to both functional and product manager. The first boss will be the functional manager who decides how to do the work and how the work will be distributed to the project work among his subordinates. Another authority is the project manager who have authority over this administrative part of the project, such as what to do or follow up upon the schedules or to evaluate the performance of employees, etc. There are basically three types of matrix structure: strong, balanced and weak. There are some advantages of matrix organization, like here highly skilled and capable resources can be shared between functional and project units. It allows more open communication lines which help in sharing valuable knowledge within the organization. Such a structure facilitates smooth communication, thus it creates a pleasant and cooperative work environment in the organization. It also helps to integrate whole organization. On other hand, there are some disadvantages of this kind of a structure. In this structure, employees may have to report to managers, which adds confusion and leads to conflict. And next disadvantages, there is power struggle between both authority, project authority and functional authority. If matrix organization is not followed properly, there are delays in decision making. So, till now we have studied line and staff structure, functional structure, divisional structure, project structure, and now we just studied the matrix kind of a structure. Now move to next kind of organizational structure, that is virtual organization structure. Organization is a flexible network of independent entities, like that entities are linked by telecommunication and computing technologies to share skills, knowledge and access to expertise in various ways. The basic reason behind creating virtual organization is to generate synergy through temporary alliances. Creating synergy is a process of putting two or more elements to achieve greater efficiency than the sum of two individual elements can do separately. The network of independent firms join together, often temporarily, to produce a service or a product. Now, till now we have studied various kind of organization structure. Before then we have studied organization chart, and also we have been through the definitional part of organizing and why organizing process is very important in framing the structure of organization. This was all about the unit 2, which was organizing and organization structure. Let's meet in next session. Thank you.